What's up, y'all? I was sitting back and I was thinking about closure. And I remember I've had a few friends say, I need closure, right? I need closure. And I think in my life, I have thought I need closure before. However, you don't really need closure. You don't. And I'm going to break down the reasons why you don't always need closure. And I'll probably throw in the reason why closure can be sometimes helpful, depending on who you're getting that actual closure from. So, first, if you're thinking about having a closure talk with somebody, right? And maybe you're the person who requested to have a closure talk. First, really be honest with yourself. Why do you need this time to have closure, right? Why do you need this conversation? Is it because you're really trying to figure out why this relationship ended? Do you feel like getting this reason is going to benefit you as an adult or just as a person? Do you feel like learning about why this situation ended, how this situation got to where it was at, that you're going to be able to transfer these skills over to a job? Really sit back and think about that. So, if you got in touch with your friend, let's just say it was a platonic thing, and you're like, okay, we're going to have our talk because, we're going to have closure. We're going to talk about, all these things that went wrong, how it led up to be that. Most of us human beings are not going to take some type of accountability. We're going to keep finding each and every reason why this person did us wrong, why this person caused the relationship to end, and how if this person would have did X, Y, and Z correctly, we wouldn't be here. And see, the thing about that type of mindset is this: you may be the actual person at fault of why the relationship is ending. Are you looking for closure just so you can feel better about yourself? When I've had people trying to get in contact with me to have a closure talk, I just sit there quiet and let them vent. Because personally, I'm not that irritated with you enough to try to break you down and tell you about yourself for you wasting my goddamn time asking me about some goddamn closure. However, there are people that as soon as you think you about to start rambling and talking all this big boy stuff, they're gonna hit your ass with how you ain't nothing, how you was never nothing, and how you're actually wasting their time with this closure conversation. What do you do when that happens? Do you think crying out, telling them, "Oh, stop, don't say those things"? Nothing works. Now you're sitting there thinking that you was about to come over here and do all this talking, get your closure, and turns out they done flipped the script on you so hard. Now your ass is in the bed crying. Now you sitting around wondering why I should never have this conversation. Majority of the time when I've seen people ask for closure, the main person I actually feel like it benefits more is the person who didn't care if they needed closure or not. And the reason why it benefits the person who didn't request the closure talk, why it benefits more the person who just was fine with, ending the relationship where it was at, is because they get to see how crazy this motherfucker is that's asking for closure. They get to see their mindset of this person twisting up shit up in their head, really thinking to themselves, we got to have this last hoorah conversation. Now, I myself, like I said, I've had people have, and the crazy part about it is, I've had these closure talks more so with women than men, right? Platonic female friendships, and they will really send me a message like, "Are you free for us to talk? So we could just get some closure." And when they say we, I always write back and say, "Girl, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't need no closure, boo. I don't. What is you gonna tell me? What are you supposed to tell me that I feel so good about? Like, say for instance this. Say for instance, I think that the person has been talking behind my back, and then we had this goddamn closure talk, right? And they really bring hardcore evidence like they have not been talking behind my back. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm already set in stone and believing that this person ain't shit. Trying to gain closure, or you trying to gain closure and tell me what you didn't do? Trust me, human beings' egos are so big that we may even see the truth, but because we done already played so many action plays with what we was thinking about prior, we can't go back. So if I'm thinking that this person is talking crap about me and then they end up showing me real, somehow legit evidence that they haven't, I'm just gonna be like, all right, it's whatever. But I still believe in my heart that they was doing that because you know what? I done did so much stuff based off of me believing that this person was talking crap about me. So back to moments where people, like I said, I majority had more platonic female friendships ask for closure talks. And like I said, when they send that message, they'll say we. First off, I don't need the conversation. This is something you need. Maybe you think you about to tell me about how shitty of a person I am, and that's finally making you feel good. What? And when I myself don't give the response back that they're looking for, I've had people really try to argue with me. Right? I've had men ask for closure, but I feel like I've had a lot more women ask for closure than men. The times I've had men ask for closure that were romantic relationships, I mean, it was just like I said previously. They're literally just trying to beat in my head how wrong I am. And when I sit there and accept it and don't fight back, that I don't know why that bothers people so much about someone not fighting back, but just being like, okay, if that's what you believe I did, okay, I could accept that. They're like, well, what did you do? Are you saying you didn't do it? It don't matter because, like I said, you done did all your action plays based off if I did do it. So me telling you I didn't do it, it don't mean shit. It don't mean nothing. All that's gonna do is frustrate you more because, like I said, you done did so much stuff thinking that I done what I did that you can't go back. You just can't. Now, me thinking about moments when I've had my female friends ask a man for closure. I've never had nobody tell me they had a beautiful closure conversation. Never, ever, 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 ever. So one friend, when she had told the dude, what she was doing was she was in a situation, and when she, I told her just stop contacting him. No, I want to tell him, I don't want to hurt him. So they get their asses on the phone, and she tells them, this relationship is not going the way I want. Blah blah blah. I think we should end this. I really appreciate you, and I believe she also tried to give him some details about himself, like, oh, you should do this, do this. That man told her all men are like me. You're not about to get no better than me, girl. When she told me he told her that, I was like, for real, for real? She was like, yeah. I was like, that's not true. All men ain't like that. But him telling her that, she believed that for a good 2, 3 years. How do I know? Because throughout those 2, 3 years, she would bring it up, and I'll be like, "Girl, you actually believe him with that? You really think all men would do what the hell he did? Oh my God, he won." Now, can you have a good closure conversation? Yes, that's very possible. However, um, even from my experience, like when I've had them with platonic friendships with women, when I've had these closure talks with romantic relationships with men. And like I said, I didn't initiate the closure talk, they did. Because, like I said, I don't really like talking. I mean, usually when it's down to that point, I'm just trying to let this person vent so I can get the hell off this phone, right? And so they don't be bothering me. Because what I notice about people who be wanting closure, y'all be nagging. I mean, you get on social media nagging the motherfucker. You try to find they family and friends to nag them about. You just do shit where it's just like, oh my God, let me just sit down and let this person talk. But from my instances, every time somebody asks me for closure, they really just trying to get my ass back into the friendship, back into whatever we had going on prior. So for me personally, I really do not like closure talks because to me, I feel like it's. So what I was saying was, I don't really like closure talks because I feel like it's, I guess for my instance, it's just a way for somebody to get your ass back in the fry. That's all it is. Come back in the frying pan. Get your ass back in the frying pan and get fried. That's all it is. Even sometimes, like,
When I would watch Maury back in the day as a kid, and somebody probably have an absent parent or whatever, and they just be wanting to talk to the parent to get closure. I've never even seen that end well. Ever. Never. Because you got to understand that I think I'm a pretty emotionally mature person, right? I think I'm a pretty caring person. However, there's only so much beating I could take. It's only so much of it. I don't mind taking the blame in certain things in life. It doesn't shake me. It doesn't bother me. But it's only so much I'm willing to deal with. Right? You're not about to keep always, I need to talk. And because you think because I'm always listening, I'm willing to listen to you. No. So for those out there that's been contemplating a closure conversation, be honest with yourself. What do you want this conversation for? Are you really looking for this person to tell you their honest opinion? Can you frame this conversation in a way where this person can feel comfortable enough to give you their honest opinion? Meaning that, when you telling them this little goodbye, you having this talk, and if they turn around and say, hey man, or hey girl, I don't really give a fuck. Are you framing it in a way where they gotta sit there and listen? They gotta play like, oh man, I'm hurt. Because I'm telling you this, people do play a role. People will sit up there and be like, God damn, this person hurting so bad. Let me just say sorry, get them off the phone so I'll go about my life. Because for a lot of people, sorry is just a word, it's not an action. Apologizing is just a phrase, just a word, it's not an action. So, for myself, I can lie and apologize. Meaning, if I feel like it's more beneficial to shut you up with the apology than it is me trying to explain something to you or understand you more, then I'm just going to shut you up. I'm just going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. And I don't mean it. So if you're thinking about doing or having someone give you a closure conversation, you need to understand their mindset. You need to understand that some people are funny like this, that they would just sell your ass a dream to get you off the phone. Right? They don't really care because you already asking for certain things already lets them know that they're in charge. So it's like, I'm so much in charge of this person's feelings that I'm going to do the right thing and just let them go. I'm just going to let them go. So once you first figure out, what do you truly want this closure conversation for, right? Why do you need so much clarity? Why this person's actions cannot be the clarity that you need? You know what I mean? So say, for instance, a guy finds out his girlfriend is cheating, right? He's breaking up with her. He broke up with her. But he's at home. He's like, man, we just broke out with an argument. We didn't really get to talk. I didn't really get to know her headspace. I really need closure. And it's like, well, dude, what are you going to get? Like if she tells you being so busy at work made her want to step out, are you going to take that information and really keep that in heed, that in the future, when you start thinking of being in a more serious relationship again, you're going to say to yourself, let me get my work schedule in order. You know what I mean? Because certain conversations is not going to do you any good. It's not. Another thing for someone who is looking for closure, you got to ask yourself this. If the person disagrees with me, then what? Right? Maybe you've been sitting your ass around for days, months, weeks, years, having this conversation in your head, replaying in your mind. If you and such can just get closure, what would it be like? And what after you sit down with this person, they don't agree with nothing you saying? They just like, no, I didn't do that. You caused me to do that. You did. Blah, 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 blah. And you sitting there, I was just trying to talk. What was you really trying to talk about? Was you trying to have a beat me down conversation? Telling me how wrong I did you? Did you really think I was going to sit here and let you beat me down like that? And lastly, if you're looking for closure, you got to understand, like how I just said, it may not go right? This person may fight you back. But you got to understand that no one could give you closure the way that you could. Stop giving other people that much power over you that you are living your day-to-day life feeling like, oh, if only me and this person can talk. If only this person could explain their actions a little bit more to me. If only I could explain my actions more to them. I promise you, it doesn't work like that. True closure is when you really forgive yourself for dealing with a person like that. You forgive yourself for maybe you was being naive. Maybe you didn't really even do anything, but that's just the game. You know how they say, you don't know what you don't know. You literally don't know what you don't know. So you can't just beat yourself up so much, right? So that's what I'm saying. First step to closure is just forgiving yourself. The second step to closure, look, it's a saying. First time I heard this saying was from Rick Ross. He says, God forgives, I don't. So the first one, like I said, forgive yourself. The second thing is, if you want to, you could be forgiving towards the person that you want to have this closure conversation with. But what I would say more of so that is understand that you're really giving somebody else power over your emotions, and you're being so afraid of your own self. You being so afraid of having control over your own life that you're willing to sit up here and give the power over to someone else for you to have closure. Now really think about what I'm saying, because I had just learned recently, how I say, for instance, I've been bothering somebody, right? And I say, well, I'm bothering them because they bothered me first. If they stop, then I'll stop, right? God damn it. My bad. And I say, I'll stop when they stop, right? But see, what I'm actually doing is giving them the power over me. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying I can't control myself at all. I can't even make my own self stop. The other person got to stop first in order for me to stop. That's the same thing you doing when you do the closure thing. I can't move on. I can't move on my own. I got to get the other person to talk to me to get this closure. Stop doing that. You a grown adult. If you're not a fully grown, I think most people on this better be 18 up watching this. You grown. You got self-control. You got control over your feelings. I love, some days I be wishing I was a little bit more of a person that could give other people control, because it's fun to blame someone else. It's fun for me to say, oh, I'm talking shit to this person because they doing this. But somebody saying, well, Ryan, why don't you just stop? What are you benefiting off of that? Nothing. But guess what? I don't have no control over myself, that I'm now giving this power to somebody else. So what we have learned, y'all, is that closure is really based on you. You don't need an outside source to give you closure, right? You understand now that there are people that lie. There are people who perpetrate. There are people that play games. So while you may go to them to ask for closure, they may sell you a whole dream where you don't even learn nothing from, right? They may actually know what could benefit you more in relationships, but they on some bullshit like I would do and just say, let me just shut this person up and lie. Tell them what they want to hear. They want to hear, you want to hear, oh yeah, it was all my fault, I ain't shit, right? And one more thing you learned about closure is that it may backfire. The person may flip the script on you where you now walking away feeling guilty. So all in all, look within yourself from closure, right? Pray on it. Prayer really works. And most of all, use your logic, use your brain. What was the action of the person that you feel did what they did towards you? Why do you need them to sit down and give you a goddamn voice breakdown of what they did? You don't. So move on. You got the power to do that. You do it your damn self, okay?